step number 2 in removing yourself from the business is hire a manager. Hire an ops manager, a director of operations, a chief operating officer, whatever it is, hire them. And this is different than an executive assistant. So sometimes you might hire that executive assistant and then they might become an ops manager. More than likely, you will hire a manager. And Cameron talked about this on the mastermind the other day. Like, don't give out titles. If you're hiring an ops manager, don't call them a chief operating officer. Like, reserve that. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. And if you don't know why you shouldn't do that, join the mastermind and learn from masters like Cameron Harold, who just spent a lot of time with us on this type of thing. But hire a manager to be able to manage the business, manage employees, manage the operations, manage the things that you don't want to manage, the day-to-day of the business, so it takes it off of your plate. Now, I use Sola as an example because probably the best example, since there were partners and we all had our strengths, but we also had our weaknesses, and we were forced to hire this manager because we didn't want to, we needed a higher level person. And so this is one of the businesses that I had a higher level person. So we weren't perfect at first. We made mistakes. We had somebody that had industry experience, but they were a disaster. The industry experience was not what we needed. We didn't need a salon experienced person to be running solo salon studios. Even though it made sense on paper, it did not make sense once you really start to unpack what the business really was about, which was a landlord. We were landlords. We weren't managing stylist or estheticians. Then we had somebody else that came on board and we thought, oh, they're going to be great. And they ended up being a disaster as well. And it's not that they were a disaster. They were not good in that role because we put the wrong person in the wrong role. They would have been good at managing a hair salon and the other one would have been good at managing another business, but they were not the right fit for the role that we needed them for, because we didn't know the role at first. So we took a step back and we thought we need to hire a director of operations, a DOO, a director of operations. So we spent a lot of time understanding who it is that we needed. We talked to other franchisees, like who is good in this role? Because we were quickly becoming one of the largest franchisees that was hiring somebody like this. And so we started to reach out, and we had, I think, 3 to 4 face-to-face dinner interviews where they got all the way through the hiring process. We had like team dinners, and we were left with 2 people that we really had to choose from, and we ended up choosing the one. And he became an amazing district operational manager. We empowered him. He thrived in that role. He took an ownership mentality, and he ended up taking everything off of our plates to the point where we were kind of handcuffed in a bad way, because if he left, we were in trouble. Fortunately, the culture that we had and the kind of person that he was and the kind of people that we were as owners, he wasn't going to leave us high and dry, and we weren't going to do anything to negatively hurt him. So when it all came down, he was doing the banking, the site selection, the lease negotiation, dealing with the attorneys, dealing with the franchisor. He dealt with everything. So when I say we were spending an hour a week on that business, us as business partners in that business with 12 locations, we were meeting once a week, and we were getting reports from him, watching the financials and watching the goals and making sure we were on track or off track. And we were on track in so many ways in that business that we ultimately sold to private equity. But that is step number 2, is hire that district operational manager, ops manager, COO, whatever you want to do, and however generous you are with titles. Don't be too generous though.